goes to town. But here's something you should know.
All right, it's 19 minutes after the hour right here on the Shannyn Moore Show. I'm Shannyn Moore, and joining us, I'm so thrilled, is Geoffrey Dunn. And full disclosure here, this probably won't be a really difficult put him up against the wall interview because I adore him openly.
Beautiful.
There you have it. Geoffrey Dunn, who's a writer, a blogger, an author, a filmmaker, just all around Captain Brilliant.
A father.
A father, a husband.
A friend.
And a friend.
There we go.
There we go. We've pretty much put you in all the boxes we can. So, Geoffrey Dunn, yesterday, you live in California. So yesterday,
I do.
God, yeah, lucky.
Not so sunny California. Rains are hitting us here.
Oh, well, you're going to have a hard time finding people to cry for you here.
I know.
You know, it's just how we roll, the snow thing. I'm over it. So yesterday, Sarah Palin was paid quite a sum of money, at least $100,000 probably. It's rumored to be up to $150,000. But yesterday, she went to the Sierra Cascade Logging Conference in Redding, California, and you got to go.
I did.
So just tell us a little bit. I know you're working on a book right now that's supposed to be coming out soon, The Lies of Sarah Palin. So did you hear any fresh ones yesterday?
Well, she's repackaging herself again, and she's constantly repackaging herself because the previous packaging gets exposed, so she has to repackage herself yet again. Yesterday's talk in Redding, California, which I call the Fairbanks of California.
Dear God.
Yeah, no, you know, everything. California's a blue state, bright blue state, but you get 50 miles inland, and it's a little bit of Wasilla out there. And
so people
she was well loved and well embraced up there yesterday. There's a big Tea Party movement up there.
So lots of soap dodgers and people, you know, wearing woolly socks.
Oh yeah, there was one crew that was pretty scary. Okay, and then of course there were the two guys who were kind of Minutemen up there who were drunk as skunks in line in front of me who were just out harassing the handful of protesters who were also there. That was interesting as well. But the point of her speech yesterday was very different, and it had a very different tone than even the Tea Party speech.
How so?
She, in the Tea Party, I mean, she took great delight in sticking the stiletto into Obama whenever she could. I mean, you know, there was blood and gore everywhere.
I think those are naughty monkeys.
Yeah, she wasn't wearing the naughty monkeys yesterday. She's gone to very slick 6-inch heels.
Ouch.
But she went away from that kind of nasty attack on Obama specifically and replaced him with Washington, D.C. And I think she was probably advised that this would be a bipartisan group, but a bipartisan group that hates federal regulation on the timber industry, hates environmentalists, and hates Washington. So they became her enemy yesterday, and she really did a launch on environmentalists and environmental attorneys, etc.
Well, it's interesting. There always has to be a villain. There always, you know, and that's not just with her. That's with, you know, Tom Tancredo. We saw him do that in the opening speech of the Tea Parties. Whenever you see these Republicans come out, it's not, and certainly this hasn't always been the case, but right now there is an enemy, whether it be, you know, people coming across the border who are brown, or it's the gays, or it's the aborters, or it's the environmentalists, or it's Barack Hussein Obama. There's always an enemy. And it's so funny because you hear the right wing is exactly the same way. There are no ideas being put forth, but there's villainizations. So it's like
demonization, which she, of course, is a master at, right? And her history in Alaska politics is creating demons all the way back to her first mayoral run in Wasilla.
Right. Mr. Stein was really a closeted Jew.
Exactly. Right. It's what a friend of mine, I am from California, what a friend of mine calls creating your shadow. And Sarah has done that actually since she's a little girl. In my research on her life, I've seen instances of that dating back probably to the time she was 2 years old, when, of course, her father said she was always creating demons and fighting with him. And then I've got some great stories about her in junior high school doing this as well. And then there in Reading, she's creating new myths about her own record and creating new enemies.
So new myths about her record. Is that like your fancy-dancy Californicator way of saying lying?
Lying. Well, the title of my book is The Lies of Sarah Palin, so I'm not being too much of a Californicator here.
How many volumes is this?
Volume 1, dear. I'm finishing up Volume 1.
Oh, criminy. Well, so...
And I'm almost to her high school career, so, you know.
Yeah, so tell me, what were some of the new, fresh lies from yesterday about her record? Because we know, I mean, when George Bush decided that he was going to put polar bears on the endangered species list, I thought, for the love of God and all that is polar, we need to put them in zoos and take lots of pictures now. Because they must be about gone. Or, well, we know that their habitat is certainly. And they're starting to evolve, and they're starting to change. They're starting to breed with other species of bears, for crying out loud.
God bless them.
Well, you know, they're racially curious. I don't know.
I won't touch that one.
Maybe
dear.
they're evolving.
I know I am, you know, so hopefully they are too. But
so you know, and she went up against it. And yesterday or last week, the Parnell administration has certainly supported this, but there was $1.5 million set aside in Juneau to hire a PR firm to try to spin for Alaska to go up against the Endangered Species Act. And it's just
you know that there's a link to Palin in that one. You know that story, right?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Well, you know, Rudy Giuliani was pushing to get that bid, right? Rudy Giuliani came to Alaska, met with legislators. He wanted to get that gig.
This was 2 years ago.
Right.
And she also wanted to hire, and apparently had all of the groundwork done to hire G. Gordon Liddy to be our spokesperson to open ANWR, which I thought...
I didn't know. That's a good one. Isn't he a great spokesperson for you?
Well, I brought this up when the whole meme was out about Barack Obama palling around with terrorists with William Ayers, and I was like, what the hell, Sarah? What about... I mean, G. Gordon Liddy had a plan to blow up buildings and kill Americans. You weren't just palling around with him. You were going to give him money from the state of Alaska. It was like $150,000 contract, and then he was going to be broadcasting from there and doing all this. It was like the outcry. And here was the excuse that her office gave me when I called them, because I was on the air at the time. I called them and I was like, "What the hell are you doing, G. Gordon Liddy? He's a terrorist. He's a domestic terrorist." And this was the response. Well, she didn't know about all of that.
Like, well, of course she didn't know about all that.
Well, I wasn't alive during the Civil War either, but I read a book.
Well, come on. Look, one of the great pretenses in going rogue are all these historical and literary references to Aristotle and Plato, and then, of course, her famous one to John Wooden, which was really John Wooden legs.
Right.
I mean, she knows nothing. I could tell you the people in the Bush campaign who I've spoken with, I mean, you know, at the tip of the iceberg about what she didn't know has barely come out. You know, she didn't know the difference between the United Kingdom and England and all that sort of stuff. But, I mean,
it's classic.
They were having to talk to her about World War II and Korea, and she didn't know the difference between North and South Korea. She knew nothing about the Vietnam War, zero, zilch, and knew absolutely nothing about the conflict in the Middle East. This is the woman who John McCain chose to run with him as America First.
And her son was going over then. You know, the only Plato that she knows about is the kind she's trying to keep her kids from eating.
That's good. That's good. I like that one.
Which, by the way, that's the way all moms are. Go ahead.